Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who have been listening to my channels and also supportive. It's very great to get some comments from you guys about my, YouTube channel. It's not actually, I don't, I actually try to share my knowledge as much as I can whenever I get a free time. So today, guys, I'm gonna be coming up with a new topic. The topic of the today, it's unusual. It's about, it's very touching. It's about ritual murder and albino killings in South Africa. I know that these things actually happening in other countries, but basically I'm gonna be focused in my focus will be in South Africa, given that South Africa is one of the most developed countries in Africa and one of the most diverse countries in Africa. So I think it's very important to discuss this within the context of South Africa so that we can be able to give the people a general overview of what actually happening. First of all, you got to remember that South Africa, like I said, is the most developed, which means that the greatest development that you see in Africa, actually, it's in South Africa. So therefore, it's very important and it's worth talking about. You see, in South Africa, the black South Africans, the Bantu people of South Africa, are the most documented Africans in the continent of Africa. So the historians, the travelers, the hunters, the filibusters from 17th centuries, they produce document describing the life of the black people and the countries in general. So they are document. So first of all, before we go to detail, I think it's very important to give you a general overview about the traditional healings in South Africa. Sure enough, most of the earliest traditional healers from South Africa, they don't practice ritual murders. The Bantu people in South Africa are divided into the following categories. We've got coastal Ngunis. We've got the Sotho-Tswana people. We've got Tsonga people. We've got vendors. Therefore, these people, some of them, they've got similarities, but they are quite different. They do have some difference, even though have got similarities there and there. Now, their languages are quite different. Ngunis are, we've got Xhosas, we've got the Zulus, we've got Swazis. Those are Ngunis. The Sotho people group is like Northern Sotho, Western Sotho, and Southern Sothos. The vendors, we've got vendor group, it's on its own. And then we have got Tsonga people who have got mixture of Sangana. And we also, among Sotho-Tswana group, we also Ndebeles. Ndebeles are more aligned to Northern Sothos than Nguni groups. So today I'm going to give you a general overview about their healing systems. Now, in this group, all of them, they do practice traditional healings, which means that they believe in traditional ways of treating diseases or understanding their communities or their world, or they've got their own traditional worldview that informs their ways of lives, which is connected to the cultures. Now, in all these groups that I've discussed, they have got a different kind of people who heal, or traditional healers within this community. The most famous one is herbalist, the one who deals with herbs, plants to heal. And we've got seers. A seer is more, in contemporary society, they call them prophet. A person who can see things before they happen, who can predict. It's called a seer. And thirdly, we've got the dreamers. The dreamer it's a form of traditional healings where a person does not have bones, does not have a medication, does not put plants with it. And then if you go visit him, you are not feeling well, you visit their families, he will say, please, can you give me 10 minutes or 3 minutes? He go and sleep. And then and he will tell you, when you wake up, he will then tell you that your problem, diagnosis your problems. We've got bone setters. Bone setters are those like if you've got fractured legs or bones, they'll try to, or dislocated bodies or stuff like that, they'll try to fix it. They're called bone setters. We've got surgeons. These are the division of African healing, traditional healers. We've got surgeons. The surgeons are those who are responsible for performing surgeries. Number one, they are different. They are those who specialize by circumcisions. They are surgeons. They are called traditional surgeons. We've got those who perform cesareans. They are part of midwifery, midwife. Even though they are part of midwife, they perform cesareans. And then we have got those who perform what you call skull trepanations. Skull trepanation is the ancient healing system where it's called brain surgeries. So those are the surgeons. And we've got a spiritualist. Spiritualists are those who spiritual mediums. They are spirit. They use some sort of spirits of their ancestors to heal. They're called spirit mediums. It's called spiritualists. And then and the midwifery, like I said, we have got fortune tellers. Fortune tellers is like, if you see things, a certain phenomena happening around you, you can then tell them that I've seen these things, and then the fortune tellers, they can try to link this with fortune. They say maybe if you see these birds, you see this kind of phenomena, it means that you have got lucky. If you do these things, you can you can benefit. You can have these things. Those are fortune tellers. We've got spitters. Spitters are those that if you are very ill and you have got wound somewhere in your body, which is not healing, without using medicine, and then they spat on the wound, and the wound will heal within a short space. Those are different kind of traditional healers. Now, these traditional healers, they got power from different groups. Now, some of these people, normally, among Gunis, the Nguni batwasa, they do a ceremony known as ukutwasa. Whereas the Sutu groups, they don't twas, they don't do twassing. If you go to see a Sutu person saying that he's going to twasa, they'll attend a ceremony where they'll be taught how to do this. Abatwasi, they don't practice utwasa. Another group that doesn't do twassing, it's a vendor. Vendor don't twasa, they don't do process of twassing. They do what you call ubikerwa. So if you find a vendor person or a Sutu person saying that he's going to twas, he's going to do what you call utwasa, you must run away from those people. It's not their culture. Utwasa is not their culture. It's Nguni cultures. Yeah, I need to make that point important, because you can find, if you find a Sutu person, a vendor person, a Tsonga person telling you that he's going to do what is called utwasa, you must know there's something wrong there. Important. Now, in the post-apartheid South Africa, because of these things have been, things have been moving well. The traditional healing system has been following the rules, even though there have been people who are doing a lot of bad things. But in the post-apartheid South Africa, things just opened because of the black people began to adopt some cultural activities that are not their cultures and cultural practice. That's why when you move around, you'll find some some of the advertisement around the road, penis enlargement, vagina tightening. Those things don't happen in South Africa. Though in some parts of South Africa, we did have the so-called ritual murders during the time of apartheid, which was actually concealed or hidden, but it was not in the large scales. People like albinos are not being killed, and people don't kill them. It's not a black culture. Ritual murder, where people go outside to kill others. It's not a South African culture. It's not a South African culture. They adopted it from different groups. In African culture, we heard that when the king dies, one of the person will volunteer to be buried with the king. No, it's not a South African culture. But why it's happening now? In the post-apartheid South Africa, people are just adopting everything. Some of these things are not even their cultures. At the end, they end up confused and killing others. Now, but it seems as there's a market. Just imagine people are killing others. And then where are they taking this to? Once you get the place where these things are taken to, who give instruction, you then destroy networks. Traditional healers, African traditional healers, most of them don't do that. It's a new thing that has been adopted. People believe, just imagine a human being doing that to another. People will say, no, it's not only black people who do this. There are people who do the same things, who are not blacks, who harvest humans, so-called human parts. The people do the same thing. They do the same thing, but they're not being exposed. But just imagine in the country like South Africa, black people adopted the cultures of ritual murder, which is not a part of cultures. Now it's dominant. What went wrong to us as a nation? Why are we believing in that thing? There's something wrong about us as Africans. So somebody will ask yourself what the government is doing about this. The government, of course, the government is people. It's you as a person. You are a government. You have to do something. Reject. If somebody involving in those activities, record that person, expose him. Most South African blacks are just vulnerable and poor. They can believe in anything. If you go to them, you ask them and say, go and do this, they can do anything just to get money. But if you look at the history books, you read the books written by, the missionaries, Department of Native Affairs in South Africa, those cultures, ritual murder doesn't exist. It's not a black South African culture. Now it's becoming part of us as a black South Africans. What have gone wrong? We don't respect others. Because if you do, you follow archaeologists. Let's talk from archaeological point of view. If you ask any archaeologist in South Africa who have done research or anthropologists, you ask them, how many tribes in South Africa practice ritual murder? They say, we never found it. The excavation that were done by archaeologists and anthropologists and missionary record have never found a group that believe. However, we heard that some people believe in it. Some South Africans have been caught in this vicious cycle and don't see nothing wrong about it. So, to investigate what's actually happening, there should be investigations. These people should be able to be interrogated so they can then be able to reveal the network. I don't think this is just happening just because of, there must be something going on there. Ask yourself, how these traditional healers, traditional healing systems that I mentioned earlier on, they don't have those kind of things, don't even know it. Those are charlatans, criminals who are doing that, hiding behind traditional healing systems. We don't know any archaeologically and anthropologically. It's not a black South African culture. It's adopted. So those who kill albinos and practice ritual murders, they're just a group of people. It doesn't happen anywhere. You can travel from it's just happening within different regions, which means that people from those regions must ask themselves why it's happening to us. Why it doesn't happen to other regions? If the ritual murders are happening within certain regions, those groups must ask themselves why it's happening within us. And they must punish people who are doing that. The same apply those who are killing albinos. In that region where albinos have been murdered, we must ask ourselves, why are we doing that? Why we do believe in those kind of things? I believe that if people who claim to be traditional healers and driving that particular trade, If they are exposed, that thing will help us, because we cannot have, in these centuries, we still believe in that. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the traditional healing system of South Africa on its own does not have that kind of practice. Those spirits of people are given that if you do these things, you kill someone, you can, advance yourself. Hey, it's not actually South African cultures. And even the law is not that much, strong enough to deter this kind of practice, because it's still continuing. I mean, even government in the past, government even started commissions to investigate ritual murders and the so-called witch hunting. What happened? Report. People still continue it. We should ask ourselves, what kind of society we are? There must be something behind. I think it's evil. The entire traditional healing system is so weak today. It's so weak. You will never know who is traditional healer, who is not, because it's not controlled. It's not regulated. Just go on the street where you come from, just opposite the street, everywhere around the street. There's a pamphlet advertising. It's this guy is come from somewhere over. He can give you money. He can change you those things. If we still have people who put those pamphlets, we are still going to have the same problem of ritual murder forever. Once we stop that practice of charlatans that are ruling everywhere, we are not going anywhere. These things will continue as long as charlatans are there. Now, even today, just to return back to the issue of Utwasa, those who practice Utwasa, if they must continue with it. Those who practice Ubikela, they must practice it. Those who practice Uwina, they must practice it. But the moment you have somebody who's a jack of all trade, hey, that's shocking, man. Just imagine you find that's the reason why we end up, many people are mixing things that don't belong to them. You adopt people other practices. At the end, you mix them. Some people come tomorrow, they say they come from, you go to those countries, they bring you things. Those things actually will need some blood. But a normal person won't do that. Like I said, I just give you, outline some of the African healing systems that exist in South Africa. None of them encourage ritual murders. None of them require body parts of other humans. That's where we lost it. We need to ask ourselves what kind of nation we are as a civilized people like South Africans, with all things with all best infrastructures, organized societies. But why are we still behaving in those outdated ideology, which most of them are not our cultures? It's a criminal things for the people who are spiritually lost. When you are spiritually lost, you believe in everything. If somebody come to you, you are poor, even if you are rich, but if you are spiritually lost, you don't have cultures, you will end up having to involve in those activities. That's what I can say today. If you want to add some more about this subject matter, let me hear from you. Sorry about that. It's very sad that many people have lost relatives because of these criminal activities that have nothing to do with black cultures or African cultures. Even our societies, let's not go and tell people that we are traditional Islam, whatever we are not. I am not saying anything about here. I'm just comment as ordinary South Africans. In the free countries, I have got my rights to say these things. We should be against this kind of practice. For today, thank you.